Hello everyone, this is Piyush. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, let's look at what is CPT and why it is important for you as an international student in the US. So without wasting any time, let's get into it. Hi everyone, I'm Piyush. I did my master's in civil engineering from Purdue University and graduated in the month of December 2023. And in this video, we'll look at everything about CPT, what CPT is, when you can apply, what are its advantages, limitations, and everything else. This video would help anyone who is planning to do their masters in the US or even for people who are actually in the US pursuing their masters. When you are on your F-1 visa in the US, there are a lot of terms and it might get confusing. Surprisingly, like before coming to the US, I didn't know any of these terms, whether it's CPT, OPT, what are the course structure and everything else. It was only after coming in the US and because of my friends who had researched a lot about how things work in the US by, let's say, talking to seniors and so on. So that's how I came to know all these terms. Otherwise, I honestly didn't do any research, and even if you fall in this category, you are not alone. It's completely all right. You will figure out as you come to the US and figure out all the terms, whether it's CPT, OPT, and so on. So don't worry, in this video, we'll try to cover the basics of CPT. Firstly, CPT stands for Curricular Practical Training, and as the name implies, it is a practical training that you can utilize during your masters, that is during your curriculum. To put it in very simple terms, to put it blandly, it is nothing more than an internship that you can do off campus while on your F-1 visa. In India or any of your home country, you might remember that it's very easy to do an internship. We don't have any restrictions whatsoever. We can just go to an employer, start doing an internship and so on. But when you are on your F-1 visa, there are some guidelines and there are some restrictions that you need to follow in order to be compliant with your US visa. So this is what CPT is. It is an off-campus practical training that you can do during your masters, and it is just an internship or co-op program that you can take advantage of. This is different from the part-times that you do on campus. The part-time that you do is not considered under CPT. CPT is specifically for any off-campus work that is specifically related to your field of study. Let's say I'm a master's student in civil engineering, so I have to make sure that the internship that I do should be related to my majors of study, that is working with a civil engineering company, having roles and responsibilities that align with my master's. So this is an important point when it comes to CPT. The next question is, who is eligible for CPT? So as per the US government guidelines, everyone on their F-1 visa are eligible to do a CPT, and second is the school or university that they are attending should be SCVP registered. So I assume that most of the people who are on their F-1 visa should have universities that are SCVP approved, but these are the two criteria that you have to keep in mind if you want to do a CPT. So the next question that you might have is, when can I actually start doing an internship or utilize my CPT? So the answer to that is, you need to be in the university for 2 consecutive semesters or 1 year. So I came to the US in the spring of 2022 and I had to be in the university for 2 semesters, that is spring 22 and fall 22, because summer is not counted as a semester. So I had to do spring 22 and fall 2022, and then I got eligible to do a CPT in the spring of 2023. So this is when I utilized my CPT. I did an internship for 8 months that started from January of 2023 to July of 2023. Now there are some programs that allow you to do your internships right after your first semester. For example, let's talk about Purdue University. There is a course named MEM that stands for Masters in Engineering Management, and these students, the students that are enrolled in this course, they can start their internship right after their first semester. So I think it's a course requirement, or it depends on the course that you are enrolled in. So make sure you check with your university and also check the courses. Check with your academic advisor that are you eligible for an internship after first semester, or you need to wait after completing your 2 semesters. But in most of the cases that I know, like, you can only be eligible once you finish 2 semesters in the university. And the third criteria is that, like, at least for Purdue, you can't do a CPT when you're in your last semester and about to graduate. So fall 23 was the last semester for me, and I was about to graduate in December 23, so I couldn't do an off-campus internship in this semester. I know that some of the universities allow this, but Purdue specifically doesn't allow that. So again, make sure you check with your university if you can work on CPT in the last semester. Next question would be how much hours can you work on your CPT? So there are two types of CPT. One is part-time CPT and second is full-time CPT. The part-time CPT is any employment off campus that is less than 20 hours, and full-time CPT is anything more than 20 hours. So a thing to remember is that if you take part-time CPT, you have to take other courses as well to make sure you're full-time enrolled in the university. But if you're doing full-time CPT, let's say more than 20 hours, you can opt not to take any courses during our CPT. This is what I did. So during my 8 months of internship, I didn't take any course whatsoever because I just wanted to focus on the internship, earn money, and didn't want to get the stress about studying or completing assignments. So you have both of these options. You can either do part-time CPT or full-time CPT. Is it compulsory to do an internship or utilize your CPT during your masters in the US? The answer to this is no, it's not necessary to utilize a CPT. I know some people who haven't utilized their CPT for reasons such as they wanted to graduate soon, or they had some work experience, so they didn't want to spend time in doing CPT. They just wanted to graduate and start their full time right away. So you can opt not to utilize a CPT unless it is specifically required for you to graduate for your course. There might be some course which require you to have an internship in order to graduate, so make sure you check your course requirements and check with your university if this applies to you. Now let's look at the steps in case you plan to utilize a CPT during your masters. The first important thing to note is that there is no involvement between you and the US government when it comes to CPT. It's only between you, your academic advisor, and your university. There is another thing named OPT, which is doing full time after your graduation. I won't go into much detail into that, but the OPT is involved with the US government. So you have to apply an application to the US government and they would approve you for OPT. But in CPT, as I mentioned, it's only between you and your university. In order to apply for CPT with your university, the first step you have to do is get a job offer from your employer. This is a must, and you can't apply for CPT without having a job offer letter. And there are also some guidelines on what the job offer should contain. Some of the main components include start date of employment, end date of employment, job responsibilities, location, and so on. The university might provide you a guideline of what details to include, so make sure you do that. If your offer letter doesn't contain these relevant details required by the university, you can contact your employer easily, contact the HR and let them know that this is what the university requires, so can you please send me an updated job offer letter. And you also need to get prior approval from the academic advisor. He or she will look at your job offer letter and make sure it's related to your field of study. This is pretty straightforward. Like, this is not a very strict rule by the university, but just make sure you are doing an internship which is related to your field of study. Like, let's say you are a civil engineer but you get an offer from IT. That's not possible under CPT. It should be related to your field of study. And I haven't heard any academic advisor rejecting any off-campus or CPT, so it's pretty straightforward from my experience and from what I have heard from other people. So if you remember, you get a I-20 when you start your masters. This is a very important document on your F-1 visa, and when you are authorized for CPT, your university will provide you a new I-20 which will show you the authorization dates, that is start date and end date, which employer you can work for, and so on. So you need to have this I-20 ready before you can start working with your employer. A thing to note is that you can work for multiple employers. So let's say you want to do an internship with one company for a month and then you need to switch to other company for 2 months. You can absolutely do that, but you have to make sure the I-20 correctly reflects that, and you have to let the university know so that they can send you an updated I-20. So as I mentioned, there are two types of CPT. One is part-time CPT and second is full-time CPT. So part-time CPT, you have to enroll for courses as well to make sure you are full-time enrolled with the university. But as I mentioned, I was a full-time CPT and I didn't take any courses during my internship, but still I had to register for some course. Obviously, it was just for a placeholder. Like, I didn't have to do any assignments or it didn't include any lectures, but I had to register for that and pay $400 fees for each semester. So I did my internship for spring semester plus summer. So I had to pay 400 for the spring semester and another 400 for the summer semester. I don't really know what's the use of paying these fees, but this was the requirement by Purdue University. So make sure you also check with your university and academic advisor that if there is any such course that you need to register for. This was a zero credit course. I didn't get any credits, but this was required by Purdue University, so I had to enroll for that and pay the required fees. So make sure even you check with your university and academic advisor that if there are any such restrictions that you need to follow. Another thing to note is that you can only apply for CPT semester by semester. As I mentioned, I did my internship for spring as well as summer, so I had to apply for spring CPT separately, and when I was towards the end of my spring semester CPT, I had to apply separately again for CPT for the summer semester. So this is what the university requirements are, at least for Purdue. Again, you can check with your university, but I think you have to apply semester by semester. Now, there are some deadlines that you need to follow in order to get approved for your CPT. For Purdue, I know that you can apply for your new I-20, that is CPT I-20, as early as 90 days before the CPT start date, but no later than 12 days before the CPT. This window is because they need some time to process your CPT. I think it takes around 10 days to get your CPT I-20 approved. So make sure you follow these deadlines and follow this window to make sure you can get approved and not miss out your CPT. If you plan to extend your CPT, let's say you initially plan to only do your internship for spring semester, but now you decide that you need to extend it for the summer semester. Try to get approved for the CPT as soon as possible, but at least give them 10 business days so that the university has time to go through the details of the employment and approve it appropriately. Now let's look at some of the advantages of utilizing a CPT. The first is obviously the monetary benefit. You will earn a lot of money during your internship because these CPT employers usually pay more than on-campus jobs, and you can also work 40 hours or even more than 40 hours. This money can help you save the tuition fees for your next semester, or it can also help you repay your loan, or it can help you save for the cost of living for the coming semesters. So I would highly recommend you to utilize your CPT, save some money. It will help you financially. The second reason is obviously it will help you build your resume and build some experience in the US. This is really important when you start finding for full time, because with Indian experience or with your home country experience, obviously you can get some jobs, but when you have US experience, whether it's internship, full time, or anything, it will have an impact when you apply for job applications. Let's look at the limitations of CPT. The first is that if you utilize a CPT of more than 12 months, that is 11 months, 29 days, you would forfeit your OPT. In simple terms, like OPT lets you work full time after your masters for 3 years for STEM students and 1 year for non-STEM students. So you really want to utilize your OPT, but if you do your CPT more than 12 months, you would let go of the OPT and you can't work after your masters. So make sure you keep your CPT under 12 months. You can do a co-op program which is around 8 or 10 months, which is what I did, and this won't let you lose your CPT, but make sure you keep your CPT window under the 12-month deadline. So this was mostly everything about CPT. I know I threw a lot of content at you, but you can take your time, watch the video again, or even go through the university website to see what are the rules that apply to your university and your course requirements. And as always, you can feel free to comment down if you have any questions. I will try to help you in the best way possible. I hope that I was able to give you some clarity when it comes to CPT. Feel free to share this video with everyone who is in the US or is planning to do their masters in the US, so they are aware about what CPT is and how it works and everything else. Like and subscribe my channel if you find my content useful. Feel free to comment down any content suggestions or anything you might want to know as an international student in the US. Thank you again for watching this video. Until next time.